What's going on, guys? My name is Ryan, and I'm gonna talk about funding Xenon. We're gonna do things a bit differently. Funding Xenon, I found, was a lot different from funding other classes. Funding Xenon, I went with the having a starter set and then a perfect set of equips. Now what that means is I made a whole separate set of equips for my Xenon to get started. The first thing that I set off to do when I made my Xenon is I just scrolled stuff. I scrolled stuff really bad. I scrolled stuff so bad that you'd puke when you see it. And I'm glad that I don't have that stuff anymore, so you just have to take my word for it. There's a much better way of going around and doing that now using spell traces and Star Force. Star traces? No, spell traces are really cool. You can just throw 100% scrolls on your equips and then Star Force them up. Star Force will give you all stat on everything that isn't class specific. So that unfortunately includes pants, shirt, hat. You won't get all stat. It sucks. I know it sucks. I've been there. I've done that. But everything else, everything that's not class specific and also tyrants, but we'll get into that, will give you all stat when you enhance them with Star Force. And that's really cool. That's what we're aiming for here. I don't think I really need to get into the whole, you obviously want to have a good heart, you want the Ghost Exorcist badge because it has potential. Xenon has their own emblem, Hybrid Heart, you get that at the Veritas, just a little beginner skill and you can go back home. There's like, whoa, and the guy there sells the Hybrid Hearts, you can just buy it, potential it. So first things first, Spell Trace and Star Force everything. You want up to probably 10 to 12 stars. And you'll get 2 all stat up until the 7th star, and then 8 to 15 will give you plus 3 all stat. That's super important. You want to keep that in mind. So I think in total, I don't want to do the math, but it's 40, it's 30 something or 40 all per equip. That's not these. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. It's plus 58 all stat. No, it's not. Where's my thing? Do I not have anything? This. It's plus 40. Plus 40 all stat at 15 stars. So minus 15 for 10 stars. Oh, math hurts so much. What was that, 25? 25 all stat? Plus 25 all stat. Yeah. Plus 25 all stat at 10 stars. That's awesome. You want that. Trust me. And that should cover you for the first bit. That's assuming you've got everything. Maybe reinforced Golek set, maybe even solid. Doesn't matter, you're gonna replace it anyway, right? And then we're gonna move on to the next phase. The phase is about the weapons and your tyrants. You want to get all of your tyrants to 5 stars. So that's your cape, your shoes, and your belt. This will be the most expensive part of Xenon, your tyrants. Once you get these up to 5 stars, you'll get plus 115 all stat per equip. That's 360 all, if I did the math right in my head. Without even scrolling it, you can just fail scrolls. And that's what you'll be getting. And it's awesome, and it's good, and you're happy with it, because that's the equivalent of getting to level 211, just in base stat, just by putting on 3 5-star tyrants. And then you want to do your weapon. And the reason why I say you want to do your weapon afterwards is because you want to have a good baseline to judge your damage as Xenon, to judge, do I want to play this class? Do I want to invest in this class? And you can find that out very cheaply. Just Star Force your things. If you enjoy the playstyle that Xenon brings you after doing that, continue on. You want to scroll your weapon, you want to cube your weapon, and you want to bonus cube your weapon. When you finish that, You want to cube your secondary, you want to bonus cube your secondary, and then you want to cube your emblem, and you want to bonus cube your emblem. There's a lot of guides out there. You want the good percent boss, percent attack, percent ignore, percent crit, all that stuff. You want a good balance of it. You don't need to overinflate it by anything. In fact, you might want less percent boss like I do as Xenon, because you get your nice little hoop arts, which gives you plus 30% total damage, plus 30% boss attack. And if you have a little bit of buff duration, just from character cards or inner abilities or anything like that, you can kind of use that permanently. And it's pretty good, as long as you balance it with Amulet Generator and Emergency Resupply. I'll get into that in a future episode, however, how to really maximize your DPS. But for now, we're just talking about funding. But you don't need quite as much boss percent. Like for every other class, the little soft cap for boss percent is 250. If you put higher than 250, you'll still have damage increasing, but it won't be as beneficial as percent attack. And percent total damage is going to be relatively worthless on Xenon, because you just have so much natural percent total damage. Just from multilateral. Every multilateral you get more percent damage. Hoop arts, more percent damage. Snipe, lots of percent damage. Where's the hyper? Orbital Cataclysm, 900% damage. You don't need all that much percent damage, the percent total damage, because your attacks are mostly very high in your percent damage. You have lots of passives, lots of buffs that give you percent total damage. So focus on boss percent, attack percent, crit percent, and percent ignore defense, and you should be super fine. So once you finish your weapons, you're going to want to work on the perfect scrolling and cubing of your equipment. Now at this point, you should be committed to Xenon. If you're not committed to Xenon and you're still wishy-washy, stop, because this is where shit gets really expensive and very frustrating. This is where that metaphorical wall is when you're trying to fund your Xenon, because you're brute forcing your way through at this point. And then you get to this point and you don't have the all-stat cubes and you don't have the all-stat scrolled, and it's gonna suck. You're gonna see your damage increase just go down exponentially. You're not gonna be getting as much of an increase to your range or to your damage output as you were previously, simply because Xenon needs all-stat. You want a cube for all-stat. And you don't get as much all-stat as you would for other classes. I mean, on Legendary, 2 lines of all-stat will grant you 15% or 12% as opposed to 21% or 18%. Sucks. It just goes down. And there's nothing we can really do about it. But that's what it's like playing Xenon. And when you do finally get 2 lines of all-stat, man, that is so satisfying. It's very satisfying to see lots of percent all-stat. And things like this, which typically aren't that good, but man, do they look pretty. And it's fun. I actually really enjoy it because there's so many different possibilities that you can do. If you get like 9% all, 9% luck, 9% luck, that's fine, that's okay. They're all beneficial lines. It's not going to be as good as, say, 9% all, 6% all, 6% all, or 9% all, 6% all, period. But they're fun. They're cool to look at. And they're cool to show your friends and be like, hey, I just cubed 27% luck. And it's super fun. And things like this, where if you get a mixed match of percent luck and percent dex, that's okay, because you play Xenon. And you don't have to worry about it, because they're beneficial lines, and then it's like, hey, I have 19% luck and dex. Boom. And it's cool, and it's fun. And you see that, and you're just like, man, this is so cool. And that's why I really like playing Xenon, because of stuff like that. Where it's like stuff that could get you down if you're playing another class, but it doesn't, and it just feels really cool. And that should cover cubing. You want to cube for percent all. I typically go for 15% all, or 12% all plus secondary stats, so strength, dexter, luck. Fortunately, this doesn't meet the quota, but I've talked about it many times. Might recube it in the future, but for now it's good. But everything else pretty much meets the quota, aside from this and that and that. But those are cool. They look cool, so they're fine for now. Yeah. And I guess that, but that looks cool too. Anytime you have like 3 lines of the same stat, man, it just feels so good. And now we get to my least favorite part of Xenon, the fucking scrolling. You have 2 options when you're scrolling for Xenon. You cannot use spell traces anymore. You have grown way past spell traces. Spell traces will not grant you pretty much any benefit at that point, because it's 3 scrolls that you have to use for 1. Essentially, you have to scroll for luck, dex, and strength, as opposed to scrolling for all stat. And prime scrolls, they're pretty good. You get plus 10 all stat. That's a lot. That's a lot. You pretty much have to prime scroll as a Xenon, I find. And then there's things that you can't prime scroll, like your shoulder and your badge, which you have to use incredible or regular chaos scrolls of goodness. And just hope. Hope to the RNG gods that you get some attack, or you get every line of stat. And if you don't, then you cry. You innocence it, and you try again. I'm at 50 plus now on this badge. Many tiers. But one day it'll get to 10 attack, and I'll be very happy. Or it'll get to I'll say 45 all with star forcing, up to 12, and I'll be happy. If either of those conditions are met, I won't cry anymore. But until then, many tiers, many tiers. There's the obvious Superior Golux set. That's standard for everybody. You can enhance it, you get all stat, and that's really good. There's the Sweetwater glasses. They're really good. They start at 10 all. You can prime scroll them. There's 7 slots, 5 plus 2 hammers. That'll give you plus 70 all. And then you Star Force up, and then you can get up to 120 all, as I'm showing right here. What's really cool about Xenon, what's really cool, is you can use Pirate and Thief. I have this cute little reverse dual blade mask from 2011, and it's really cute. It's really cute, because it's a Thief equip, and most of my stuff is Pirate, but I have Thief shoes, Pirate cape, Pirate belt, Pirate Root Abyss set, and a Thief mask. Because why not? Because we can, because we're Xenon. So there's lots of different options with Xenon. You definitely want to stick with the same equips for the stat bonus. The 50 attack is really good. But you can also do Sweetwater, like me. I use the Sweetwater gloves and the Sweetwater whip. Sweetwater whip is plus 1 weapon speed over Fafnir, which may not be that important. I value the plus 1 weapon speed over the 30% boss because I am a Xenon, and I have a lot of natural percent total damage and percent boss, making the plus 1 weapon speed very important when you snipe, so that it's not slow as molasses. And then the Sweetwater gloves are really nice because they're all stat. You have the Sweetwater whip and you get another 25 all stat and 20 attack, making them around on par with, I think, when I was doing math and testing it out, if you prime scroll Tyrant gloves around the 8th or 9th star is when you'll see Tyrant gloves start to be a little bit better than 2-set Sweetwater, assuming that you scrolled them like I did and I just transposed perfect Empresses that I had previously on my dual blade onto those, and then enhance them to 12 stars. I can get them to 15, and then that'll be really good. And I think it's plus 1 attack after the 8-star again, maybe? I don't know the numbers for that exactly. I kind of did it all in one shot and I wasn't paying attention, and I haven't done any like science since then. I should though. I'll get back to you on that. But in terms of how it is right now, yep, pretty content with that. And these are the kind of things you want to cube for. You want to cube for all stat, or minimum crit, maximum crit for gloves, etc., etc. You don't want total damage on your weapons, and you don't want percent stat without the all stat. If you have all stat, then the extra little stuff is just the icing on the cake, or the chocolate chips in the cookie. So, I'll do a little too long, didn't read summary right now at the end, put it in the description, so if you guys don't have time to listen to me ramble, let's have a brief, concise list of things that you should do when you're funding your Xenon. So, Step 1. Get a bunch of equips that you don't care about. Step 2. Spell trace the shit out of them. Step 3. Star Force them up. Step 4. Get some Tyrants. Step 5. Get those Tyrants to 5 stars. Step 6. Get a weapon. Step 7. Scroll and cube your weapon. Step 8. Cube your secondary. Step 9. Cube your emblem. Step 10. Scroll a heart. Where was that? Was that 11? Step 12? Cube your equips for all stat. Step 13. Scroll your equips for all stat or attack. And scroll them for all stat or attack. Or both, if they're Golox. Those will be the most beneficial, and everything else is relatively useless. And then, finally, step... oh god, I don't even know, 13, 14, 15, whatever, the final step towards everything. Make small adjustments on the fly. If you don't like something, and something's eating away at you, like say, you only have 2 lines, or you only have 1 line of all stat and 1 line of stat, but they're good, but they're not great, improve on those next. Once everything else is done / perfect / you're satisfied with it, you're gonna want to just move on to things that kind of eat away at you, that kind of bug you. And eventually, you'll be good to go. So I hope you guys either learned something or enjoyed this video. I hope you guys have a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next episode. Take care, guys. I love ya.